The Navy base cafeteria buzzed with chatter and the metallic clatter of trays. A group of young recruits sat at a corner table, their laughter bouncing off the walls. Their attention was locked on a woman sitting quietly 2 tables away tall, calm and unmistakably out of place among the khaki uniforms. She wore civilian clothes, her long sleeves rolled up just enough to reveal a faded tattoo on her forearm. It was small. A pair of black wings inked in sharp, minimalist lines, the tips curling upward like they were still in motion. To most people, it looked like an old design, maybe something she got during a reckless night years ago. But to the recruits, it was an open invitation for mockery. "Look at that," one of them whispered, smirking. "What's she trying to be? Some kind of fallen angel?" "Yeah," another chuckled. "Maybe she's one of those wannabe vets." Always a story behind the ink, right? The woman didn't flinch. She didn't even look their way. She just kept sipping her coffee, her eyes calm but distant, like someone replaying a lifetime of memories she'd rather not talk about. Then the laughter died suddenly. The air seemed to shift as a commanding voice echoed through the cafeteria. "Commander, on deck." Every soldier in the room jumped to their feet, chairs scraping. The SEAL commander, Captain Reed Holloway, strode in, his presence instantly commanding silence. He was a legend among the ranks, a man who had led classified missions in deserts, jungles and icy waters, with scars to prove it. He walked straight toward the food line but froze halfway through. His eyes had caught something, or rather, someone. The woman with the tattoo. For a moment, his expression hardened. Then confusion crossed his face, followed by disbelief. He walked toward her slowly, each step measured like he was approaching a ghost. "Excuse me?" said quietly, his voice suddenly devoid of its usual authority. "Where did you get that tattoo?" The recruits exchanged puzzled glances. The woman looked up, meeting his eyes for the first time. "Same place you did." "Captain," she said softly. And that's when the entire room felt the air leave their lungs. "Captain." Holloway's gaze dropped to her arm again. The tattoo, those same black wings, wasn't just a random design. It was the insignia of Raven Unit, an elite, off-the-record SEAL team that was officially disbanded years ago after a mission gone catastrophically wrong. Only 6 people had ever worn that mark. Officially, only 2 had survived. He swallowed hard. "No, that's not possible." She gave a small, knowing smile. "I thought you'd say that." The young recruits stared, wide-eyed, as Holloway's hands trembled slightly, something no one had ever seen from him before. He started. "Lieutenant Kara Miles," she finished for him. "Raven 6. The cafeteria went silent enough to hear the hum of the refrigerator in the back. Holloway blinked, stunned. The name hit him like a flash grenade. Kara Miles had been declared missing in action during Operation Silent. Dagger, a mission that even most high-ranking officers didn't know the details of. Holloway sat down across from her slowly. Disbelief still etched across his weathered face. "They told us you were gone," he said quietly. "That no one made it out." "I almost didn't," she replied, her voice steady but heavy. "But someone had to finish the mission. Someone had to make sure it wasn't for nothing." Her words hung in the air like smoke. The recruits, now pale and silent, were frozen in their seats. Their earlier laughter replaced with shame and awe. "What happened after?" Holloway asked, leaning forward. Kara sighed. "I stayed off the radar. After the extraction failed, I knew going back meant interrogation and politics. They wanted to bury what we did and who we lost. So I disappeared." She glanced at the tattoo. "But I kept this. It reminds me of the ones who didn't come home." Holloway's jaw tightened, memories flooding back, the roaring gunfire, the coded radio transmissions, the last scream before the comms went silent. He'd always carried the guilt of leaving part of his team behind. And now, sitting in front of him, was proof that one of them had survived. "I tried to find you," he said quietly. "I went back for you." "No," Kara said. "But by then, I was already gone, pulled out by a local medic team. I had to fight my way through 3 borders just to get home." Her tone was calm, but her eyes betrayed the storms she'd been through. Finally, Holloway stood, his voice regaining a trace of command, but softer now, almost reverent. "To every person in this room," he said, turning toward the recruits, "the woman sitting here is not a civilian. She's one of the best operators I ever served with. She's a decorated SEAL, one of the few who earned her place in Raven Unit. That tattoo you laughed at? It represents missions you'll never even read about." The recruits lowered their heads in embarrassment. One of them stammered, "Sir, we didn't know." "No," Holloway cut in sharply. "You didn't. That's the problem. You look at ink and think you see a story you can mock. But every line, every scar, every mark, some people earn them the hard way." He turned back to Kara and gave a rare smile. "It's good to see you again, Lieutenant." She smiled faintly. "You too, Captain." As he walked away, he stopped once more and looked over his shoulder. "You ever think about coming back?" Kara looked down at the wings on her arm. "I never left, sir. Just change battlefields." And with that, she stood, finishing her coffee, and walked out of the cafeteria. The room remained silent long after she was gone. That day, no one laughed at tattoos again, because they all learned something. Some stories aren't inked for show. They're carved in flesh, blood, and sacrifice.